In the small town of Elmswood, nestled between rolling hills and forgotten train tracks, lived a 17-year-old boy named Malik. The town wasn't remarkable, but it was the kind of place where everyone knew your name, your grandparents' name, and the mistakes you made in 7th grade. It was also the kind of place where dreams were often set aside for practicality and safety. Malik wasn't a troublemaker. He wasn't particularly gifted either. He was the middle-of-the-road kind of student who sat in the back of the class, kept his hoodie up, and avoided attention. His teachers called him quiet, his classmates called him chill, and his mother, his only parent, called him my little lion, though there was very little roar in him most days. Life had not been kind. His father had walked out when Malik was 5. His mother, Jamila, worked double shifts at the diner and took night classes to finish a nursing degree she'd started before Malik was born. They lived paycheck to paycheck, always with just enough to get by, but never enough to look ahead. Malik spent most of his time alone. He loved sketching, faces, mostly. Strangers he saw on the street, classmates he barely knew. Drawing helped him process the world when words felt too heavy. Still, it felt like a hobby, not a future. One cold Monday in November, everything began to shift. It started with a moment. One of those seemingly ordinary moments that would go unnoticed by everyone else. Malik was walking home from school, hoodie up, earbuds in, the usual soundtrack of lo-fi beats shielding him from the world. As he passed the corner of 5th and Monroe, he saw a boy from his school, Tariq, being shoved against a fence by 2 older students. The older boys were taunting him, cornering him, daring him to swing. Tariq was timid, bookish, the kind of kid who answered every question in class and had no idea how to throw a punch. Malik stopped. Just for a second. He felt the familiar voice inside his head. Not your problem. Keep walking. But another voice, quieter, almost like a whisper, pushed through, do something. He turned off his music, walked toward the group, and said, "Yo, chill." He didn't do anything. The older boys turned to him, sizing him up. One scoffed, said something about minding his business, but after a tense beat, they walked away. Malik didn't look at Tariq. He just nodded and kept walking. That single moment might have ended there. But it didn't. The next day, Tariq sat next to Malik in class. Then during lunch. Then he introduced Malik to a small group of kids who loved film and art and coding and chess. Slowly, Malik found himself in spaces where he wasn't invisible. He began helping Tariq's older brother design characters for a mobile game he was coding. He started staying after school to use the computer lab. A teacher noticed and encouraged him to enter an art competition. He won 3rd place and $500. The win felt like a lightning bolt. He began sketching seriously. He started learning digital art. His counselor helped him put together a portfolio, and even though Malik never thought about college before, he applied to an art school 3 states away. The day his acceptance letter came in the mail, his mother cried. Not because she was sad, but because someone had finally seen what she'd seen all along, that Malik had something special in him even when he couldn't see it himself. At the art school, Malik thrived. He worked harder than he ever had in his life. He took on freelance gigs, collaborated with indie studios, and built a name for himself online. By the time he graduated, he had offers from animation companies and tech firms. Years later, Malik stood on a stage at a major design conference, presenting an animated short he'd created about a quiet kid who saved another boy on a street corner. The piece was called The Power of One. In the audience sat his mother, her eyes shining. Malik never forgot that day at 5th and Monroe. The choice had seemed so small. Just a pause. Just a few words. But it set off a ripple that changed his entire trajectory. One voice said, "Walk away." The other said, "Speak up." He listened to the second one, and it changed everything. Because that's the truth about life. Sometimes, it's not about grand gestures or loud heroics. Sometimes, it's the quiet, almost invisible decisions that shape who we become. The power of one moment. One choice. One person. That's all it takes.